Hello, I'm Teri Cargill, and welcome to my show, Talking with Teri. Here we will learn how to master our mindset in life, business, and beyond. The fact is, New Year's resolutions are doomed to fail. Today's guest, Rebeccah Silence, is an emotional healing coach and author, is here to share with us a new perspective on what we can do to activate our intentions with greater success. Welcome, Rebeccah.
Hi, Teri. This is such an important conversation.
Yes. Okay. So I love the fact that we have this similar viewpoint on that in the fact that we both dislike resolutions.
Yeah. Because usually they are rooted in shame and they are fear-based. And what I mean by that is we think about a resolution in terms of what we believe might be wrong with us or what we're afraid would happen if we didn't pursue it, which is exactly why it's unsustainable.
That's right. And you know, by the time of this airing of the show, I was reading, and I thought it was 3 weeks, but it's actually 2 weeks after we've set our New Year's resolutions that we fail.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so let's look at a different way of exploring how we can be more successful. Let's ditch the New Year's resolutions and let's re-engage in a new way. So share with us what that new way is.
So bottom line, you can start, stop, reinvent yourself anytime. We don't need a calendar date or the planets align just right, and now it's the time to reset, make a new resolution, right?
Yes.
And every moment of our life is an opportunity to create the life we want for ourselves.
Yes.
So instead of resolutions, what I invite people to find is their next commitment that is just because they can, just because it's what they desire, and just because they deserve it.
I love this. And I have similar language, and I like talking about targets versus goals, because a lot of times when we start talking about goals, we get so rigid and we put these little blinders on that says, I have to get here to here, and these little, you know, and if we don't hit it, and the sad thing is, especially with some of my clients that I work with, if they don't hit it, I had a client recently, she hit one of her, a large financial, she ended up generating $3.4 million in her company, but because it was a little off from her from her goal, she was so devastated. And I was like, "What? Like that? We should be we should be celebrating. We should be right." And but with a target is like, okay, here's my bullseye. This is what I'm aiming towards. But if we allow ourselves to be open to all the other possibilities, right, and that we can be in the flow of things. We can then identify other opportunities that we might not have seen if we had the blinders on.
Well, and you used this term that we all use, have to, right?
Yes.
If we're thinking about, okay, here's where I am, here's where I want to be, what should I do? What do I need to do? What do I have to do to close the gap? We're already minimizing our power and our ability to have fun with the experience. So what we want is for you to be thinking about a target, but in terms of this is what I want. I have my clients look for what's their big one. And I don't care how seemingly impossible it is. If they want it, if they can imagine it just as a possibility, they can create it.
Exactly.
So if you're thinking about what is my next big want, just because I can, I think it allows for a more inspired brainstorming session. Versus, here's what I have to do or else. And just the word resolution implies that something is wrong. So I want us to be resolved about, we can have whatever we commit to. And not wait to feel resolved until we have it, or until it shows up exactly the way we think it needs to look.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think it's so important that we look at, you know, staying in that place of possibility. Because if we can think it, we have it within ourselves to create it and to generate it. And I always tell people, like, what are we speaking life into? You know, are we speaking life into the things that we don't desire? Because oftentimes I'll ask clients, you know, what is it their desires are? And they'll tell me inevitably everything that they don't want. They tell me, you know, well, I don't want this relationship, I don't want that, I don't want this. And I'm like, well, what is it that we do? And as humans, I think we're kind of not hardwired, but trained to, to show what we don't, and that's where we put our time and energy and focus on versus saying, hey, this is what I do desire. So that's just a quick tip of like really asking yourself, like, what is it that you desire?
For sure.
And let's spend energy calling that into life.
Right, and for anyone that is very confronted, not sure what they want, all you can think about what you don't want, just make your list. What are the top 5 things you don't want anymore this year, this season, right now in your life? And then next to it, what's the opposite?
Yeah.
And if you know what you don't want, you can find what you would want.
And I think it's so important to know that contrast, right?
Yes.
Because that contrast serves us, and it serves us in showing, okay, like I was explaining this the other day with a friend of mine. She was dating, and she was like, well, this is the guy I would like to date, da da da. She starts dating this guy, and she's like, well, he has all these great qualities except for, right? I was like, great. That's showing you contrast, what you don't desire. Now we get to tweak it. We get to take that desire that we don't desire, flip it to the positive.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I want something that's, instead of, not, I don't want someone who's smoking, I want someone that's healthy, right? Like, now we switch it, and now it's like, okay, let's focus on this. And, it took her 3 different experiences, and then she like locked on. It's like, oop, she's in alignment. Yeah. She's in alignment with what she truly is seeking out, what she's truly desiring, what she's truly in alignment with. And it doesn't take a long time, but that contrast, like you were talking about, is really important to know what we don't desire, what we do desire.
And the alignment word is so important. So now that we've talked about what we desire and we are closer to what we want, the next most important piece of this, Teri, is commitment. Yes. Because without commitment, how do you cross the finish line? How do you stay in alignment in the moments where our humanity strikes? We have self-doubt. We have other people's opinions about what we're up to that now have us questioning whether or not we're capable or this was a good idea. So I really want to talk about commitment. And for me, commitment is a whatever it takes, as long as it takes. Commitment actually has no conditions. When we're fully committed, it's not as long as this happens or that happens, I'll stay committed. It's not a matter of if, but when. I am unwilling to stop until I cross the finish line. So many people think they have commitment issues. They don't. No one has commitment issues because we're committed every second of every day to where our focus is, to where our energy is. And again, I love your word alignment, because when your actions are in alignment with your commitment, you are unstoppable.
And I think it's so important. I was at an event a year ago, and a facilitator had us do this exercise where we wrote a letter to ourselves, and it says, here's my targets for the year. And she then took them from us and then put them in a sealed envelope and then waited a year to reveal them to us in this group. And what was interesting is I took a picture of mine, I printed it out, I put it in the back of my daily intentions planner, and then it was constantly there, right? Because I'm constantly like, what am I committed to? What am I in alignment with, with myself and my values and what I'm achieving? And it was really interesting. She picked 5 of us to come up on a panel to talk about our letters. So what did we write on our letters? And do you know what's so interesting? Is that out of the 5 panelists, I was the only one who achieved those desires. Yeah. And we started unpacking this, like why that is. And I said, well, I'm committed, but not only did I write it and stick it away never to see it again, I was like, no, if I'm going to put this down, I'm committing to myself to take action in creating and finishing crossing the finish line with it. And so I think that's so important that we sometimes will write down what those intentions are, what those targets are, but then we're not doing something daily to take ourselves closer to that
action as well, right, Teri? Because you meant it when you wrote it down.
Yes.
So it's one thing to want something. It's another thing to commit. And commitment goes beyond I just want it. It's a pact with yourself. Yes. So when you're breaking commitments with yourself around what you want, you break self-trust and you create that shame-based approach to resolutions. Yes. And what I love to coach people to do, just pick the next one.
Yes.
Let's not overwhelm ourselves. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's not think I have to heal my marriage, my health, my money, get a new job, break up with my ex-best friend that I'm pretending like is still my best friend.
Yes.
No, let's pick one. And this is the other piece. Don't pick the one that you feel the most threatened by if you don't create it.
Yes.
Pick the one that you're the most excited about, because that will be the one that now you can build momentum, you can create that win, and until the one you feel threatened by feels fun and exciting and like a no-brainer, don't even try.
Yeah.
Because it will fail. The energy isn't aligned
Right.
or high vibration.
Yeah, it's not. And when
Right.
we're talking about this from an energy perspective, we're going to do the opposite. We're
Right.
going to think about it. We're going to go into that doom and gloom. We're going to think like, oh, how, and it feels like a 1,000-pound boulder in front of us, instead of being, okay, this is going to be easy. And we've already had those wins behind us to show that, yeah, we can do this too.
And don't worry about, is it easy or hard? You want to be in an ease and flow mode, and that isn't about the actions you're taking. That's about who you're being. So that's the third piece that I think is really important, right? What are you wanting and desiring? Commit like you mean it, or pick something different.
Yes.
And then be focused on, if I'm being the person it would take to create this for myself, what would be required? And if you don't have it yet, it doesn't mean something's wrong with you, but it does mean you're not being the person required to create this reality for yourself. So don't worry about, do other people feel like this makes sense? Worry about, I'm going to be the person it takes as long as it takes. And then again, there's no way you wouldn't be successful.
Absolutely. This is a great way for us to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with Rebeccah Silence in just a moment. Want more support in creating your success story? My products can help. Check them out. First, I have my book, Be the Magic of You, Tools to Transform Your Life. And in it, I have over 70 different tools to help reprogram your brain. Next, I have my Daily Intentions Planners. They help you create without forcing it. They combine brain science and universal laws. In addition to my book and planners, I also have 2 card decks you're sure to love, designed to support you to reconnect with your purpose, power, and potency. I also offer 2 special packages. The first is the Success Package. In it, you'll have my book and a year's supply of planners to help you bundle and save. Next is my favorite, the Empowerment Package. You can supercharge your life and business by getting all the products at one low price. But wait, there's more. I also offer a yearly subscription called the 7-Figure Business Box. Each quarter, you'll receive a physical box mailed to your home, a live 2-hour intensive training, an hour-long fireside chat with an expert in the industry, a guidebook packed with even more resources. To order anything you see here, just go to my website, talkingwithteri.com. Hi, and welcome back. We are here with Rebeccah Silence, and you're not staying silent about resolutions, are you?
I'm never silent, Teri, just for
All
the
right.
record.
So this has been a juicy conversation, and I also want to have a conversation around other people's opinions, the OPPs, right? Other people's opinions around what we're doing, because I know when we start to commit to big, audacious, yummy, juicy targets that we're heading towards, there's ultimately someone or some people that says, what are you doing?
Absolutely.
I know I've experienced that multiple times, and I'm like, oh, okay, next.
Yes.
I'm still committed, right? But how can we, or if there's any tools or strategies that we can really help people say, you know what, this is my lane, this is what I'm choosing,
Absolutely.
and how to make sure that those other people's opinions don't take us off course.
Well, and here's the bottom line. Other people's perceptions, reactions, opinions never have the power to stop or stall out your commitment. Only you do. So the most important thing is to understand people are questioning your commitment because they wouldn't imagine it was possible for them.
Yes.
That doesn't mean it's not possible for you.
Yes.
And they can't see your vision more clearly or commit to your vision more powerfully than you can.
Exactly.
So you can look at other people's responses and opinions as a test in your own commitment. and as an opportunity to commit even deeper and even more, and to get even more excited. When I started a radio show on a top 40 radio station, bringing life coaching to a community in upstate New York, nobody thought it was a good idea. Nobody told me it was a good idea, and I knew it. I had the vision. When I was diagnosed with cancer while I was pregnant with a 5% chance to live, I knew my body and my soul absolutely had clarity about what treatments should happen and what shouldn't, and my family was scared to death about a lot of the health decisions I was making.
Yeah.
But I knew to follow my certainty and my yes and my commitment. And the most important thing is, don't let external factors have fear get bigger than the possibility of your dream coming true for you.
Yes. Amen, sister. Amen.
We're not done with OPP.
Yeah. Well, and I think so often it's like we allow those other people's opinions to dictate, and going back to your piece there about your cancer, right? You chose to go inward and trust your intuition, trust the inner knowing that you had, even though it didn't make sense.
It made no sense, Teri.
Right? And I think that's, that's the power of us, right? The power of the human spirit. And when we allow ourselves to just trust that inner wisdom that we already have, it is such a game changer.
Absolutely.
And all aspects of our lives,
and
from
it's
health
never
to
not
relationships.
available.
Yes.
Right? Like that inner knowing. And if you're watching and you're saying, I have no idea how to connect to my inner wisdom.
Yes.
Just know there's this powerful part of you that has no fear. And find that and know that the only resolution to make is that your life is meant to be led on your terms.
Yes.
Your life is yours, and you can make it whatever you want, as cliche as that sounds. And if other people don't get it, that's because they don't value what you value, and it's you that has to blaze the trail. You can't fit into other people's molds and break the mold and break out. You got to just stay committed.
Yeah.
And I write a lot about this in my book, Coming Back to Life.
Yes. All right. Let's. You have your book with you.
I sure do.
Let's share that with the audience here. Coming Back to Life.
Coming Back to Life.
And as we wrap up, how can people connect with you? How can people reach out to you?
Yes. So visit me at RebeccahSilence.com. Definitely check out Coming Back to Life. You can also get it on Audible, anywhere books are sold. And no, you don't need a crisis to change your life. You can just decide. And this book is a roadmap to healing through self-doubt, fear, and to connecting to the truth of who you really are again, so that you can create whatever you want.
Absolutely. Okay, check out her book.
Yeah.
Absolutely delightful having you on the show today. As always, be bold, be brave, be fearless. Be the magic of you. Massive love to all of you. Teri's wisdom tips. Tip number 1, try setting targets versus goals to allow for the natural expansion and growth of what you're creating. Tip number 2, taking daily action is key in achieving your desires. Grab your copy of my Daily Intentions Planners today. Your intentions, when activated, start to set your desires in motion. Tip number 3, engaging the brain with your intentions the night before sets your day up for success. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell to find out about my upcoming shows. Thank you for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time.